Hey y'all, welcome back to my little corner of the world. This is Casey's Corner. I'm Casey. Surprise! And this is we're catching up on my Texas Viking Viking witch cosplay and my research into a Viking witch. I've fully decided this is a cosplay of an original character I'm creating based on the proposition, what if those Vikings, that landed up in Nova Scotia, if I'm remembering right, what if those Vikings kept going all the way until they got to Texas? That's right. Why would they stop anywhere but Texas? Because that's how it made sense to me attending a Texas Viking festival. I was like, oh, well, what if Vikings made it all the way to Texas? One thing, why would they come? Part of fleshing out this character, my Viking witch, she's going to be a Viking witch in Texas, but of, Viking Age type stuff of that era. So that's going to be around 1060. My Vikings will have left the Viking world around the turn of their century. So from, because that's the archaeological evidence we have of the Vikings being in Canada, in North America. It's going to be around the 1000, yeah, 1000, turn of the century, first century type era. So learning about this world is, creating this character means I want to learn about this world, learning about what Viking witches were like. I've learned, we've learned, if you are following along with the series, we've learned they're called vulvas. Well, right? Yeah. And they were independent women of status in their era, and in their world, in the pre-Christian era. So costume stuff, what I'm working on right now is this way oversized tunic dress thing. It's a practice. But yeah, I didn't measure properly. Of course, I eyeballed it again. One of these days I'm gonna learn. Lessons will be learned eventually. So I'm working on this. I have got my gussets huge. My bad. I know they're not supposed to be like that. But I have those in. Again, practice. My stitching has been improving, at least. I don't know if you can see that there, but I mean, come on, y'all. That's something. And working on my sleeve next. And I still gotta finish the bottom bit. But that's huge progress. I'm hoping to get that done by the Solstice Viking Festival. Yay. Maybe even, because, guys, they are having a competition for a skaldic competition, so memorize a saga type Viking poem to perform in character. This could mean my Viking witches time to shine, because one thing we know about Viking Age witches was they traveled, part of their independence was, my arm was singing, they were able to travel from community to community, sharing, their knowledge. They were the knowledge keepers. What I'm finding of their grave sites is they had, the medicinal stuff, things that would be used. They had hemp seeds and things. They had groups of iron keys and things, rattle types, sound maker things. So they had, and then they had the knowledge. There is a saga about a visit from a vulva, Viking Age witch, into it, and how, she has this whole spiel that she shares. And maybe I memorize that spiel for my, as part of my Viking, witch cosplay, my Texas Viking. What do y'all think? Can I do it? I used to do that stuff. This isn't like completely out of the blue. What? That crazy like social anxiety mess of a person who can't talk to people wants to do this. I used to compete in my first round of working through my social anxiety stuff in high school. Part of that was competing in debate, and specifically the oratory competitions, where you would, and it was the same in theater. I was in the Thespian Honor Society, and I could do the monologues. So it was, that's basically the same thing. It's, so that is actually something that's in my wheelhouse, that I know I can do. I at least used to be able to do it. So maybe if I can't do it this year, maybe next year I'll be ready for it, for another event in the future. Because this is such a long-term, in-depth project. I'll probably be working on this for a very long time. But I do want to get it, like, the base of this character fleshed out by this winter, December. So I need a name. Guys, y'all, help me out. Maybe I'll start, like, over on my Facebook, start throwing out some ideas. Y'all have helped me with my cover, creating my cover stuff, and my, title images, things like that over on the Facebook. Y'all help me workshop some things. So maybe we'll workshop a name for this character. And the other thing I wanted to talk about this time was the time, why, they were there, what it would have been like for a Viking Age woman at that time. She definitely would have wanted to be out of the area that was, because at the time it was the height of conversion era. Several prominent kings of that time, were becoming kings. This was the time, before this, there was a ton of different, like, little kings in the Viking Age world, meaning they were smaller community groups, and they weren't, this was the time where, like, you get the kings that, like, unite entire lands by, conquering lots of war and lots of violence and stuff. They do it by force and power. And one of the things that helped charge this why kings like Christianity was the Christian God said, hey, kings, you get everything. And they loved that. So they would convert and then take all the land. And this was a rough time for women, particularly the next 100 years. It only gets worse, because then we head into the witch hunts, and you can see, like I said, I've been sharing. I'm gonna share it in the links in the description. It's that deviant burials in Viking Age Scandinavia. There's one thing that I'm reading, just like I said, because you can see, it's the deviant burials. What they're looking at in this paper is, you see, not deviant as in, like, the healer witch is some of the ones, and she's also looking at criminal, and and how over time, the healer witch is criminalized, and you see them treated more like that, and that's kind of what this is looking at. And you see it gets ugly, like, to go from highly respected burials where we're seeing these women placed with honor. They have A lot of them have wagons. That was like their performance. You know, they would go from village to village and they'd stand on their wagon and they'd do their thing. And often they were buried with that. And also with, you know, with their tools of the trade, beads, lots of beads. And so those were like high status items. They were, so you can see that they were respected in their time. And then you can see as we get further into the Christianized age, their bodies are desecrated. To put it politely, you see the violence done to their bodies. Archeologically, we can see the evidence of it, you know, of stuff done before and after death, whether they were, you know, hung and killed in some way, and then, you know, decapitated is a very common thing. Because you see, at this time, you gotta remember, the Christians believe in the you know, once the rapture happens and Judgment Day and everything, and everybody gets to rise again, they want their bodies fresh and ready. And if you are a person that they do not want coming back, like a formerly powerful witch type person, they're gonna cut you to bits and make sure it's not so easy or possible for you to come back, for you to get your body back, should that time come. They don't want that. So you know, because and even, you know, and we can also see it in the historical record, where they were proud about this. They wrote about it. You can, one of the books I'm reading right now is The Nordic Religions in the Viking Age by Thomas A. Dubois. Another one I got off of Thrift Books, I believe. But I just wanted to read this a bit real quick. From one of the saga bits. Let's see. And it's just about a king, you know, one of the kings trying to force conversion. And there's this guy, Avendar, I think is how you say it. Again, you're here to hear me not pronounce things properly. You're not here to hear me pronounce things right. That's somebody else. That's not me. But anyways, so this guy was brought to see the king, and the king commanded him to be baptized like everybody else. And this guy refused. He commanded him to accept Christianity with fine words, gave him many good reasons. So did the bishop. This guy still did not consent. King tried to bribe him with properties. He refused. The king threatened him with torture, injury, and death, but Avendar would not consent. Then the king had a bowl full of hot embers brought in and set on Avendar's stomach, and soon his stomach burst into pieces. Then he still wouldn't submit, and he gave an excuse that he was a spirit given life in human form by semi-magic, because his father and mother weren't able to conceive. And yeah, then he died. And that's from that's the 13th century Iceland sagas. So you can see it was a time historically they wrote about the violence done to upon those that they wanted to convert. It was something they were proud of. The archaeological records, you can see it's even worse. Just seeing the graves, there is evidence in the following years after the Viking Age and the fall of the Vikings, and we get into this era of the full conversion era and everything. And like I said, you can see in the grave sites just how bad it got. There's archaeological evidence of people being buried alive. They didn't write about it, like in the sagas that they bragged about the other tortures that they did, or even in the the legal records where they wrote about the other things. But archaeologically, the grave sites have been found where you can see, and it's specifically women they did this to. So you can imagine if you've got those kind of people taking over your world, and you are a formerly respected, you come from a line of respected women, and suddenly that is blasphemy to even know anything. It's heretical to even say the things you're saying. Had to have been awful. It's bad enough living now, and that's part of why this past month's been rough, because I've been learning about this stuff and thinking a lot about being those pagan women, all those years ago, who had these rights, they had these respected statuses, and then lost them. And then, here I am, modern pagan woman, and living in Texas, and literally I had the right to get an abortion, and then as of September 1st, I do not. I don't need one anymore, but I had one, and I was shook. It's not like I didn't see this coming. If you have been around me for a while, follow me on my personal Facebook, or any of those things. I have been vocal about this stuff for quite some time, but then it's like nobody listened, and everybody else chose this. They chose to either ignore it or actively sought this out, and boom, rights are gone. It's it's rough. And it's not as bad as getting burning embers, and but I can tell you my pregnancies did feel like that, so that would be as bad if I was forced to that. Thank goodness right now I'm sterilized. But there's still, that's why we still need those knowledge keepers of, those who know, outside the, what's the word I'm looking for? I've mentioned it before in my Hedge Witch videos, but the hierarchical, powers, I suppose, right now, particularly the religious powers that be. It can be dangerous. It's why I've worked so hard for separation of church and state, because you see way back, and historically what happened when church took over the state, by converting these kings and taking all this power, and through that system. It was dangerous. It was awful. And we see it happening again in modern ways. So that's, these were real people it happened to then. This is real people it's happening to now. That's why it's important to know your history. I didn't know anything about this age particularly. It was kind of always skipped over in the history books. They called it the Dark Ages and pretended nothing happened. And a lot happened, and we do know a lot that happened. We've just been turning a blind eye to it for a very long time. And not anymore. So I hope you go and you check out the Deviant barrels. I'm going to post the link there. I hope you go read some more books. Right now I'm reading this one. I know these are old. I as they become more affordable and more available, I work my way towards the more modern books. This one is, I believe, like 20 years old. But a lot of the stuff that we are, because history moves so slowly, a lot of the stuff we're accepting now was really getting published and put together then. This one is Professor out of the University of Pennsylvania Press is where this one came from, and he put all his research together for his classes and needed a textbook for it. So that's what this one is. I'm also reading the Finland Sagas. This is not a real map. That's hilarious. Like, everybody but Yale knew that, so Yale finally, Yale finally admitted that this map they paid a lot for, the Finland map, is not real. Everybody knew that but them. But it's so funny. But yeah, I got this, and it's hilarious that it says on the back, like, oh, oldest map, but it's not. But anyways, I didn't get it for the map. I got it for the sagas, for the words inside, because I believe this is the one that has the story I was referencing. So I'll share more of that as I pick a section, maybe to try and memorize and learn, and share my ideas. If you have any ideas of what my Viking witch should be called, let me know below. I'll also head over to my other socials on my Facebook. It's Welcome to Casey's Corner. It's the one with my face. And it's spelled just like it is here on the YouTube channels. I am working on taking back my Twitter. That's a hilarious story I'll tell another time. But my Twitter is just plain old @KillaCasey. I've been on there long enough that I was like the OG Killa Casey. I don't have any extra numbers. Nothing was needed. I really should have a check mark for that. I'm just saying. But Twitter @KillaCasey. I'm working on taking that back. It was pirated for a while and used to boost other people's follows and things. It was one of those type accounts. They're retweeting stuff. So a lot of that stuff's not me. But I'm working on clearing out a lot of the pages they followed that I do not have an interest in. I don't know what I can do about the retweets yet. But I'm just moving on with my life now and taking it over. Anyways, so that, and then on my Instagram, it is @KillaCasey, and it's KILLAKC, the letter K, letter C, 327, and it's spelled the same way over for the TikTok, and then over for the Twitter is what I meant. But surprise, I am on TikTok as well. I have one TikTok so far. I'm working on it, but it's some preview of my footage from the Dallas Reproductive Liberation March. So yeah, so those are my socials. Check them out, and give me a like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for checking out and encouraging the series. For those of y'all that are enjoying the sharing the witchy research and stuff and learning about historical witches. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer sometimes, but also I don't know, it makes me feel a lot closer to everybody that's come before me learning about this stuff, and also acknowledging I'm real, I exist. They were real, they existed. It's good to know. It's empowering even, right? Alright, y'all have a good one. Do the like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna go finish my drink out of this shiny skull of my enemy. The enemy is my table that keeps tripping me up over there. Y'all have a good one. Bye. Do the things. Lots of love. Love you guys.